Ordering food delivery feels a lot more luxurious than it used to.
No, it doesn't. My Wendy's is still cold, man. I hate ordering. I barely order out. Like maybe once a month.
Not because the food's gotten any better or the experience or anything really. It's just all gotten a lot more expensive.
Yeah. I went to my local Chinese takeout and I compared the prices of what the menu is, and then I drove all the way there, even though I really didn't want to, because it was $30 more expensive. I'm not even kidding. Granted, I don't have a subscription, but still, what does it shave off, like $8? That's like, bro, how? I'm gonna let him cook.
I put this order together on a delivery app, and it came out to $36 with tip.
What?
But I'm a consistent guy. I usually order the same thing when I get Chinese food. So I went to my email and looked through some old receipts and saw that in 2019, the same exact order was only $19.27.
Oh my god, it actually got so much more expensive.
$26 with inflation. We all know that ordering on the app has made things more expensive. But why? Look at all these fees.
Because money. They need money. Money.
Service fee. Okay, that makes sense. They're
What the hell is New York courier fee? What the hell? What is that?
providing a service. Delivery. But then what's delivery fee? And this one irks me the most. The New York courier fee, which Uber defines as offsetting new minimum wage laws. Minimum wage laws.
Yo, fuck New York, man. Common New York L for real, though.
That the companies that make these apps lobbied to kill. It's almost like they're hiding the real reasons.
What? What is it
that make these apps
Just sued New York City over minimum wage law. What?
Lobbied to kill. It's almost like they're hiding the real reasons costs are so inflated.
Just don't order delivery, you lazy fucks. Okay, counter argument. I order out once a month at most, and sometimes not even once a month. Every 2 months, I still have to pay double for my order when it used to not be that way. I was fine with paying a tip and like paying the driver or whatever, but now it's double the cost because they're greedy. The menu prices are almost double that of the actual restaurant because they want to make more money off of you. It's the classic move of making a good product and shitting it up. They're not making money at all? You mean the restaurants? Yes, the Uber, whatever, the Uber Foods or DoorDash, they're making all the money. The restaurant isn't making enough money to like make it worth it, yeah. Uber's not profitable? I completely disagree. What are the Uber profits for 2023? As noted by Business Insider, the company reported an operating profit of $1.1 billion compared to $1.8 billion loss in 2022. Oh, would you look at that? Oh, yeah, they used to operate at a loss and now they're operating at a profit, huh? Yeah. Yeah, now they're making money because they doubled all the costs and everything. Look it up. I just did.
By blaming being forced to give their drivers living wages. The real culprits for making food delivery worse and more expensive are a handful of massive, billionaire-funded corporations.
And that is when it turns into the pile of shit. That is the final stage of
Enshittification.
And don't tell me I don't need to use these apps. Many restaurants no longer employ in-house delivery workers. And Uber and DoorDash have seized a duopoly on 96%.
Ah, yes, the classic duopoly. We just talked about it. It's just because they're losing money and they're making a 5% profit, which is not much. 5% is $1 billion. Okay. If you think $1 billion is not a lot, I don't know, man. It's a lot of money. I don't know.
of the on-demand food delivery service business. They've used that market power to convince us that we needed them to replace a system that was actually working just fine. That scam has made
Why are people not going out and grabbing it themselves? Okay. You are a unfortunate corpo borpo worker. You have 2 jobs, 10 kids, 5 wives. We are being trained to become more and more reliant on it because you have so much to do, because there's more shit you have to work for, because you are getting eaten up by inflation. You guys, like, we didn't used to have this problem. We had pizza delivery. We only got it because it was cheap and it was decent food. Now we're having to do this because it's like the inflation is eating you up alive. People are having to work free jobs just to make fucking ends meet. And then they're so tired when they come home, they have to have their whole family working to make ends meet. The wife and the husband have to work now. It's insane.
made them immensely profitable. Uber's delivery business made $1.5 billion last year. That's a 173% increase from the year before. And DoorDash pulls in a ludicrous 49% margin on delivery. It's middleman capitalism, where a transaction that used to look like this
I'm gonna order us some pizza.
From where?
Yep.
From Sal's.
Yeah,
now
from
looks
Sam's.
like this. And food delivery is just one example of how billionaire middlemen are taking your money and giving you nothing in return. Do you remember these ads?
Something's really irking me, man. Something is really irking me right now. I have 2 days off and I'm spending most of my time either talking business, planning streams, editing, looking through thousands if not hundreds of videos to try and make things scheduled. I do not have a manager to like do all this shit for me. I have a ghost editor now for Eclipse channel. I do all the editing. Sometimes it's just a bit too fucking much to dedicate 6 hours to meal prep for a whole week ahead of time. And I'm assuming there's a lot of people like this that do this. I could stop, but it's not in my best interest to stop working as hard. I imagine it's the same for a lot of people who are either poor or they just want to like not have to like cook. For myself, I cook because I don't want to pay this exorbitant prices, but for some people, all the money that they throw into this is worth it. It sucks. People have always been telling me, oh, just meal prep, dedicate a day, and I'm like, but then I'm dedicating an entire day to do this shit. Yeah, like, it's tough. Sometimes it's just like, it's not about being fucking lazy. Meal prep can be simple and fast. Okay. Whatever. It's not like I've looked into it. You guys know better than I do. You guys know me better than I know myself. You're right.
From when the early iPhones came out.
If you want to check snow conditions on the mountain, there's an app for that. If you want to check how many calories are in your lunch, there's an app for that. Yep.
God, I remember the old iPhone. That's crazy.
There's an app for just about anything.
That catchy slogan symbolized a promise. Whatever you need, there's an app for it. The examples in the ad were for things that were handy to have a new tool for.
Yes.
And the transactions were simple. Either the apps cost $1 or a couple of bucks, other than the
Yeah, now they're all free and have gotcha.
infamous I'm Rich app, which cost $1,000 and did nothing, or charged some subscription fee. But importantly, most of what the apps did just existed on your phone. Existing web retailers like Amazon slowly began introducing apps, but there weren't many apps that provided real-life services for money.
Yeah.
Even up through the early 2000s, food delivery was still the domain of Chinese, pizza, and diners.
Yeah, I think that apps didn't exist until like, what, 2015, where they had like food delivery? And even then it was like not super popular. I think it had a massive pop-off in 2020. I also know for a fact that they started cutting down on discounts on like DoorDash and shit because people were using them so much and they weren't making a profit. Now they only do discounts every once in a while. Because they're not making money as much.
Restaurants saw delivery as an extra table, like as if the delivery guy were just another waiter getting paid a wage plus tips. And a lot of restaurants didn't offer delivery because it simply wasn't economical. Seamless Web, a company that originally just placed large restaurant orders for workplaces, pivoted to individual customers and became Seamless. And Grubhub launched with a bucket of venture capital money.
God, Grubhub. Sheesh.
These apps just connected users with the restaurant, who still use their own delivery guy. And Seamless and Grubhub charged the restaurants fees of 15 to 25% and let restaurants charge whatever they want for delivery. Restaurants were pretty happy with this deal because of the volume, so it made it worth it to have a full-time delivery guy. And customers were happy because they had access to a whole new range of restaurants. In 2008 and 2009, a few tech millionaires came together with an idea. An app that would let you order a fancy black car at the push of a button. They named
but Uber driving, like an Uber driver, is the same thing though. How could it possibly not be profitable for Uber to do the same exact thing but with food? Hold on. What are Uber Eats? Is Uber making a profit yet? Yeah, no, every startup doesn't usually make money until it's like 3rd or 5th year of like being a business, unfortunately. But the fact that it's like $1 billion in profit after the last year it was losing $1 billion in 1 year and then up $1 billion now? It makes sense. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think of this, to be honest. It's crazy to me that it's almost double now to like get the same meal from like 4 years ago. It was intentional. Well, yeah, I mean, they need to make money, obviously, to corner the market. Yeah, actually, you know what? That's a good point. If you look at how cheap it is compared to other places, you want to go to the cheaper place, and then you dial it up because people are used to it, and you box out all the other competition.
it Uber. Yeah. To understand the kind of guy behind this, the idea was allegedly inspired by Uber co-founder Garrett Camp spending $800 on a private car to go out on New Year's Eve and finding that far too expensive. To understand the kind of guy the other co-founder, Travis Kalanick, is, here's a clip of him talking about how great Camp is.
When you open up that app and you get that experience of like, I pushed a frickin' button and a car showed up, and now I'm a pimp.
Man, you can sell stupid people anything. Bro, you pushed a button on your phone and then a car showed up? No way!
Garrett is the guy who
back then it felt magical.
Kalanick's old Twitter.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel the same way, but some people feel that way.
Avatar was the cover of Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, because he, quote, likes architecture. But everyone knows that's not what people read Ayn Rand for. That's like watching The Sopranos.
Baby, holy smokes!
45 seconds, stir it up real nice.
At the same event as the pimp quote, about 2 years after the launch of Uber, Kalanick made their goal clear: to dominate and replace public and shared transportation.
Yeah, they boxed out taxis in New York. All the taxis in New York basically died. It's not a thing anymore. It's mostly just Ubers. It's crazy what they did. All the people, they just killed it. Yeah.
Uber would not be where it is today if it weren't for a very special entity, the SFMTA.
That's the San Francisco Municipal Transportation Agency. Uber started as an SF exclusive, providing black cars that cost around 1.5 times a normal cab. In the next few years, Uber saw a ton of investment from venture capital funds and traditional investors. This huge influx of cash allowed them to do a simple trick: make Uber rides really cheap. Do you remember that, when an Uber was cheaper than a cab? The cheap cars let Uber dominate the market.
Yeah, the classic.
Drivers from small taxi companies started Ubering because it's where all the customers were, and at the time, the wages were good. Riders started defaulting to Uber rather than trying to hail a cab or even take public transit, and everyone had the app on their phone. Uber had seized the market. But
it was a good, what is it called? A good app. I used Uber a few times and it was great. Yeah, Yeah, they come and it's all normal and it's a good service. Now it's uberly expensive. Get it? Haha, uberly. Yeah, seize the market and then jack up the prices. It's the classic Warcraft move. Buy out the auction house and then set everything else to a new price. That's what I used to do, yeah. Except this isn't a video game. This isn't a video game! It's over! Oh my god, man. Yeah, make all this money and then buy everything out. Tasty. You can't tell me what to do.
They had their eyes on another market, food delivery, in 2014. But it doesn't make any business sense. The rides were cheaper than it possibly could cost to pay the drivers, cover other expenses, and still make a profit. How does any of this work? What's the business model? Cory Doctorow has a word for it.
Enshittification is a theory
I love this guy. We've seen him before in other videos.
I came up with to describe how platforms decay.
By platform, he means web platform. But this goes beyond the internet into real life. It's a three-phase process.
I hate this movie.
Phase 1, the platform is good to its end users. The users pile in, they get locked in.
Think of Google or Facebook, platforms that started off free and were actually pretty good tools.
Yeah, Facebook used to be like actually decent. You'd play free games on it, poke your friends, play Farmville for free every day. And then the ads came in and now everyone's off it. Yeah, now it's incredibly overrun by ads. Like every single scroll. So I use Facebook unfortunately to talk with my parents because they're boomers. But oh my god, everything is ads.
Tools that slowly became nearly mandatory in modern life.
Phase 2, confident that those users are locked in and aren't going to go anywhere. It makes things worse for those end users, and it gives treats to business customers.
So for Facebook,
I noticed this when I started seeing business ads being bought out and put on my front page, but it was like back in like 2015 or 14 when I started noticing that people buying ads for their businesses and stuff, or they're like art or something. I just thought that was so weird. Now it's like full-blown like actual corpo borpo ads.
for Google, that's when you realize that since you weren't paying for anything, you were the product being sold. And they both gave you up to data collectors and advertisers, knowing full well you'd made the platforms an essential part of your life.
There's lots of different technical tricks to lock in users. Like if you're Uber, you can drive all the taxis out of business and
Yeah.
cause disinvestment in public transit. If you're Amazon, you can lock people in by getting them to pre-commit to buying a year's worth of shipping in advance with Prime.
Then comes phase 3.
Chat, is there any other option other than Amazon? Like realistically, is there anything but Amazon available? I don't think so. eBay? No, eBay is for used products usually. Or pre-bought products. It's different. Temu? Yeah, that's so much better. Public Square. I don't even know what the hell that is. Etsy? No, Etsy's not the same. It's a different one. It's like a different business, like handmade stuff usually. In Brazil, we don't have Amazon. Honestly, kind of giga shit.
Once those business customers are also locked in, it takes away all that surplus and it gives it to itself.
Let's apply that to Uber. They made Uber easy to use, cheap, and readily available. Then started to pay drivers less and overwork them. And now they're finally starting to bring in money. At that time, the vast majority of food orders were still normal orders placed over the phone. Remember that? You'd call the actual pizzeria or Chinese place or whatever, and a guy who worked there would bring you your food. You'd pay him for the food, tip him, and no billionaire middleman was involved. It made...
Yeah, now they take the tip out of the driver's mouth, essentially. I had a friend who basically had to have a job at DoorDash because they didn't make enough money, and they would basically get like a cut. And sometimes if people left bad reviews, DoorDash takes a cut out of it. Even if they did nothing wrong because the customer's always right, they take a cut out of it, the tip, because they did a bad job. There's no verification. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna give them a call. It's just always the customer's right. Yeah.
Makes sense. But the delivery companies decided to destroy that. Seamless and Grubhub told restaurants their menu prices had to be the same online and in store, so the restaurants couldn't make customers absorb the commission, but also making it so the customer thought delivery apps were cost effective, eliminating whatever competitive advantage that direct ordering had. Then they made a real mob-like move. They bought up domain names of restaurants they did business with so that those restaurants couldn't get their own business online. Basically,
what? You can do that? What? Dude, that's so evil, but that's so smart. Nah, that's evil. So it redirects them? That is so evil. She looked up the buyer. It was Grubhub. The counter has found Grubhub has registered over 23,000 web domains. That's clever, man. Oh my gosh.
Forcing any restaurant that wanted to get business via people Googling them to work with Grubhub. Then came the new delivery thing, what we're really talking about here. Uber Eats and DoorDash. Grubhub was restaurants using their own drivers, but Uber Eats and DoorDash were something new. They had their own gig workers, contractors with no benefits, responsible for their own vehicles, fuel, insurance, going to the restaurants, picking up the orders, and delivering them to customers. And Uber Eats had the power of scale. Everyone had Uber on their phones already, and they just applied the strategy they did originally with cars, making—
Yeah, that's really smart. That's really smart that they expanded. Even if it's at a loss initially, it's such a good idea to expand. If you can handle it and you can maintain the customers being happy.
everything impossibly cheap.
Just
they had
for a
this
little
surplus,
longer.
right? They had a ton of money from the capital markets, and they gave it to us, people who wanted to eat dinner. They heavily discounted the food that we got. They paid the restaurants full price, but they charged us less than they were paying. Well, that's a pretty good deal, right? And if that's all they ever did, hell,
Yeah.
I'm all for it, right? Let Peter Thiel buy me dinner every night from now until the end of time.
They wanted you hooked, so when they raised prices, you'd keep using their service.
Yeah. I personally stopped. In 2019 and 2020, when I lost my job and I was really sad, I would order out sometimes. Not often, but I would. Because it was cheap. Or at least relatively cheap. I could justify it. Be like, okay, well, I mean, I'm really sad. I don't wanna fucking get out. I wanna get up. I don't wanna get groceries. And I lost the job, so I was really, really sad. But now it's so expensive, I never get it. You had a job? No shit, Sherlock. Yeah, I'm an adult, I had to.
Once they'd used their venture capital cash to gain market share, they jacked up prices. Now, most people go to Uber or DoorDash first if they want to order food, meaning restaurants are beholden to the apps too, otherwise no one will order from them. Uber charges restaurants huge fees to be listed on the app, and it's a tiered service.
I basically don't use DoorDash, and if I am going to get from my local Vietnamese restaurant, I always call on the phone. Because they fuck the restaurant over. They do. What was your job? None of your fucking business.
So the more the restaurant pays, the better visibility they have on the app. Meaning when you search Thai food, the top results aren't the highest rated, closest, or anything like that.
Yeah, you have to pay a premium. That's smart, man.
Pays the most. And Uber pushes this marketing service on all of the restaurants. Meaning if every Thai restaurant buys the same tier, it becomes meaningless. They're all equal no matter how much they pay. The only entity that wins is Uber Eats.
Everybody gets screwed by the platform in the two-sided market.
And unlike Seamless and Grubhub, menu prices on Uber Eats are often higher in-app than direct from the restaurant.
Yeah, I made a direct comparison. It was 40 to 50% more. It's crazy. I literally didn't DoorDash my food. I went and drove there. I was like, fuck this. It costs less. Like, the only thing that was my gripe is I had to sit through traffic and, like, drive there, whatever. But the overall, like, money was more of a headache. That's how bad it is.
Because Uber Eats encourages this to restaurants to offset fees. They openly recommend it. Generally, a middleman, like a distributor, only makes money once. They buy something and sell it to someone else for a profit. Uber Eats makes money off the restaurant and on the exorbitant fees they charge customers. I went through my email and found an old Seamless receipt from 2019.
Damn.
And I made the same
I should go and find one of those. That's gonna like blow my mind. I think I could probably go find one.
exact order on Uber Eats. Except the restaurant weirdly doesn't have chicken fried rice anymore, so I just got egg fried rice.
Whatever.
Chicken, if you will. It came out to 33% more than it did in 2019, and
Yeah. Yep.
that's accounting for inflation. Then there's this story about a woman in Seattle getting a single coffee delivered for $25.
Okay, well this is a skill issue right here. This is actually a skill issue. White woman moment! You live in Seattle, you get what you freaking deserve.
Yeah, there's a lot of absurdity in that sentence.
Nah, that's
from
skill
the
issue.
price to the very act of getting a single cup of coffee delivered. This especially bothered me because this was in an article alleging that the high fees were entirely due to new laws in Seattle ensuring delivery workers
Nah, that's bullshit. I freaking hate that. I don't live in a big city, like what the fuck? It's still extremely expensive.
a fair wage. But it makes sense customers would blame the minimum wage. The delivery apps tell you
No.
to. Seattle customers, like New York customers, see regulatory fees for operating expenses, often explicitly blaming requirements put in place to guarantee a minimum hourly pay. The apps
Yeah.
could just roll these costs into the existing fees and never tell us what it's for. But they want you to blame the wage laws. In Seattle, the $25 coffee article came during a debate to roll back minimum wage protections. That's a clear attempt by Uber and DoorDash to affect
blame.
public opinion on the law.
Yeah, classic.
Imagine the app had an executive pay fee or a
I would blame everyone else but me. I would do that.
shareholder dividends fee. Explain
Is Uber and DoorDash ran by women? No, it's not my fault. It's your fault.
Explaining the real reason you had to pay an extra
Yeah.
$6 was to directly hand it to a venture capital billionaire who just really wanted it. I posted this line about the $25 coffee on Twitter without thinking too much about it, dunking on the customer for being upset about the price. It's an easy villain to paint, a lazy, privileged person
Right.
complaining that the servant she hired to bring her a single coffee is making too much money. But she's not really the villain. In the greater class battle, she's on the same side as the driver against the venture capital billionaires. It's almost a meme, the guilt you feel when you order Uber Eats when you see all the fees attached.
When you Uber Eats $30 worth of food at 2 a.m. and sit there after finishing your food with post Uber Eats clarity. I had that one time like 6 months ago and I just haven't ordered since. It's so bad.
But it's okay to want convenience. Corey was adamant about this after I joked about the $25 coffee on our call.
There's nothing wrong with wanting something that's more convenient, right? Like, I don't think it's a sin to not want to spend your money, and I don't think it's a sin to not want to have to work extra hard to get through your day. The problem is that there's like a false promise, and that false promise then uses investor capital to crowd out the actual viable systems.
People
Bullying
expect
them out,
convenience
yeah.
today because Silicon Valley billionaires created a false promise of a more convenient
Why do you even need $1 billion? That's what I don't understand. $1 billion.
world that is affordable. But really, they just set up a system to funnel more of your money to themselves. Innovation is good, and it's okay to make money off of innovation. But what these people are doing is finding parts of everyday life that are working just fine and forcing themselves in as middlemen to transfer even greater wealth to themselves. They did it to dating. The rise of dating apps made it
Yep. I was literally about to bring that up. Dating apps are the same thing now. You used to have free Tinder. Like, it was free. I used Tinder one time and installed it. But the point is, I used it for free. It had no, like, subscription. I think the only thing that was, like, paid is, like, maybe you get to, like, have, like, more selections or something. I don't know. I don't remember. It was, like, $5 a month or some shit. So basically, like, nothing. Now, you get, like, a limited amount of swipes, and if you want to have the premium, the creme de la creme, you have to pay a subscription now. It used to be free. It's the epitome of Enshittification. Are you gonna blame the people for not going out when society made it this way, that you're working now a 9 to 5 and you don't have time for yourself or to like go out and like party? Are you gonna blame those men and women? Excellent, Tinder must die. I mean, Tinder makes millions of dollars anyway, so it's not going to die. Nice try. It sucks. It's horrible.
Harder to meet people in person because the apps became the new status quo.
And you're overworked. Japan and Korea and most of Asia has the same freaking problem. You can't meet people. You meet people at your work and that's about it. And then you go home, shit, eat, piss, and sleep and come, and that's it. America is no different.
Now most of these apps charge exorbitant fees to be useful at all. And they're doing it to healthcare. Like those bogus telehealth companies where the founders end up in prison. Or these
What? I didn't even hear about this. Feds arrest Adderall telehealth CEO under Controlled Substance Act. Wait, this guy was dealing Addy? He was dealing Addy over an app? Wait, that's actually kind of strong. Wait. Whoa.
networks that do nothing but connect you to doctors to rip off you and your insurance
That's
provider.
great.
Or this doctor in a box. Or streaming apps where
Doctor in
access
a
to content
box.
is easy, but prices keep going up and
The AI is still telling you to fucking jump off a bridge, man. You really want to diagnose people with health problems? With an AI doctor, when Google, the king of like data, still can't get their AI right. Yeah, I'm feeling really sad, AI doctor. What do you want me to do? Oh, you should go jump off a bridge.
box.
Yeah.
Or streaming apps where access to content is easy, but prices keep going up and creator wages keep going down.
That's another thing. Netflix. Do you guys remember when Netflix was affordable? It was something that you didn't have to pay a lot of money for. Like, even for people that were, like, relatively normal, it was like, oh, it's like $5 a month or $6 a month. It's like, people didn't care. It was a lot. Now it's all restricted and you have to get a bunch of other subscriptions in order to watch the shit you want to watch. Yeah.
Or meditation and prayer apps that are basically adding a middleman to you just sitting quietly and thinking. They want you to pay to access your own mind. We've built a supposedly utopian tech economy around the same issues that plagued all of previous industry.
The Apple II Plus went on shelves the year Ronald Reagan hit the campaign trail for his first presidential run, right? These are two factors that have grown up at the same time. So all of the policies that define neoliberalism, weak labor protection, weak antitrust protection, and so on, get more extreme as tech gets bigger. The capital markets did not open the sluice gates to funding them until it became clear that you can cheat the labor laws by...
I am so concerned for the future. We need to do something about AI now because it's going to outspeed the legislation of the world. Someone has got to do something. The EU won't do anything, NA doesn't do anything, Asia doesn't do anything. They're only going to do something in like 40 years when it's already too late. You have to have foresight for this kind of thing. It's not gonna take it seriously enough? Yeah, because all the politicians in every country is a fucking geriatric dinosaur. America just has the worst, obviously, but I still think that in the EU, all of them are old and stupid and don't understand that technology works, and they won't listen to people who are younger than them who grew up with this kind of shit. AI is going to outrun the fuck out of humanity and laws. And people are going to abuse the ever-loving fuck out of it when it comes to that. It's just not good enough now, so people are like, oh, well, we don't really care. They'll be dead before they see the consequences. Yeah, unfortunately, that's how, humanity is now. People don't plant trees to, like, give shade to younger generations in, like, 30 years and they're dead. They want to rip out the tree because it makes them money right now. If that makes sense. Hi, Pine Doodle! Yeah, the old suck. Yeah, a lot of them do. I'm not saying all of them suck, but like a lot of them in power freaking suck ass.
saying it's not a labor violation, we did it with an app. You can cheat privacy and say it's not a privacy violation, we did it with an app. You can cheat consumer rights and say it's not a...
We didn't take your private data. It was the AI that coerced it out of you. It's not our problem that you gave them, you know, that you managed to give them your data. God, I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's not a ripoff. It's not a bait and switch. We did it with an app.
And what are they really even providing? It comes down to two things: supposedly innovative technology and scale. But now that innovation is broadly available, anyone could build a simple app like Uber's or DoorDash's, so it's just about scale. It doesn't have to be this way. Without us, from which the venture capital billionaires derive value, they have nothing. Order directly from restaurants that will let you.
Yeah, but people won't do it because it's inconvenient, unfortunately. In every country, like, you have to literally ban this kind of shit to get people to stop. And even then, they don't really stop! Look at the ban on drugs! It doesn't really work! The war on drugs. Yeah. In all seriousness, if you can't do anything to stop China's AI development, if we restrain ourselves, we'll be behind. I'm not arguing that. I think that in every country that has AI developing, we are going to see consequences that we could not foresee and imagine before it's too late. And the people that are warning them now are said that to be stupid and that they're overthinking it. You have to have some sort of middle ground to this kind of thing.
Pick up from the ones that won't. Support worker power movements like Los Deliveristas Unidos, the New York-based collective of delivery drivers working to seize back power from the venture capitalists. Encourage the government to fight app monopolies like Lena Khan's FTC. And don't believe the apps when they try to turn us against each other. When you see a driver minimum wage fee, don't blame the driver.
No,
Blame
I never do.
And venture capitalists whose...
I never do, personally. I never blame people. Like, only really low IQ stupid people blame the worker that works under like a corporate company. The only time I've ever freaked out, this is like an anecdotal story, the only time I've ever freaked out at a restaurant for basically scamming me is that restaurant was family owned and they were scamming me out of a buffalo burger that I had to assemble myself. They gave me a freaking patty and a bread, and then they overcharged me to shit and then asked for a tip when I was the one assembling my own burger. I was so fucking pissed. I actually like freaked out at the owner and I walked out and I said, this place is gonna go under in like 2 months. They charged me $18 in 2016 for a burger and some shitty chili that was reheated in a microwave. That's when I got pissed. I don't get mad at the McDonald's worker for having like a shitty fry or something. Did they go under? Absolutely. I called it then and there, but like, that's besides the point. I was so fucking pissed. Was it good? No! It was terrible! It was cold cheese! Cold cheese on a burger is criminal! But anyway, I digress. Don't get mad at the people that work for the corpos. It's not their fault. They're just trying to live their life. It sucks.
Fees show up nowhere on your receipt.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to support more journalism like this, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if there's another example of corporate greed or anything like that that you want us to take a look at, let us know in the comments.
That was a good video. I liked it. That got me talking. Got me yapping, Jack. Got me yapping. Clappies.
Oh, yeah.